Okay, there we go. That's finished. West Ham United 2, Newcastle. Maybe they're United, maybe they're not. They scored 2 goals as well. Here with me, good pal Tony, live at the London Stadium. My words, that was up and down. That really was a roller coaster of emotions, Tone. And, well, immediate thoughts, then we will get into the more detailed analysis of the game.
I suppose game of two halves, as was the Sheffield United game. Good first half, classic counter attack. I thought we looked good in the counter in the first half, and just like Sheffield United, we were too deep second half. There was no real outlet. It looked like we tried to see the game out second half, as we did against Sheffield United. Difference is that this team can lay a glove on us. Sheffield United couldn't, and then thank God for Kudus at the end, because that would have been a horrendous loss. It would have been an unnecessary loss as well.
No, you're absolutely right. And if you're wondering what Tony has alluded to with Kudus at the end, I do believe that was an 89th minute equaliser from Mohammed Kudus. There's so much to unpack in this video and what happened there out on the pitch. But I think it's probably fair to say that we went in at half-time 1-0 up, and I don't know if David Moyes had been feeding the team the Valium again at half-time, but they certainly came out lethargic, Tony, very, very lethargic, and we really needed Mohammed Kudus to come up and sort of help us out there. I'm just going to say a couple of things now before we get to things more chronologically. Is 2 things. Before, I don't want to sound like a bitter West Ham fan, let me just say that I thought Kieran Trippier, what a magnificent footballer. Alexander Isak, what a player that Newcastle United have signed there. 2 really, really fantastic players. I'm going to have a little moan up, which is going to sound a little bit odd, because we've just got a draw against a very, very good team who I think are nailed on to be a top 6 team this season. So let's just get that absolutely straight. They've obviously had a really good result against Paris Saint-Germain in the week, Newcastle, and fair play to them. West Ham been doing this for 3 seasons now. It ain't easy to play midweek and play the weekend again. And I often look at teams and think, can you do it? I look at Brighton, I'm not sure they can do it. Newcastle, they definitely can do this. I think they can play midweek and they can play at the weekend. So fair play to them for that. What I found massively frustrating from this game, although ultimately I'm happy because we scored the last goal of the game, was David Moyes had his substitutes, and by substitutes I mean Said Benrahma and Mohammed Kudus warming up from the 66th minute. They didn't get onto the pitch until the 75th minute, Tone.
Yeah, almost directly after they literally were almost nailed on to make it 3-1. They had a chance where I think I thought it was in, basically, and I was screaming some words I won't repeat here at the moment.
Thank you.
Anyway, no, but I was fuming. I thought, how long are we going to leave it? You know, they would. It was practically 3-1. Didn't it come off the post or something like that? Or,
it was very, very close.
Yeah, it was so close. I thought, it's just leaving it too long. It's just, So,
but overall, the first half, we scored an early goal, and then I thought not only did we soak up the pressure particularly well, but I thought any time they got any momentum, we broke up plays. I thought the first half was a real example in how to sort of manipulate the momentum of a game.
Remind me of the Brighton game. We're up against a bloody good team with excellent players that did have most of the possession. But possession, so what? It doesn't matter, right? We proved that against Brighton. If they've got the possession, but we had a counter-attacking threat in the whole of the first 45 minutes. Now, I'm going to bring something up right now. I did have a quick glance on our boys' WhatsApp group. We wouldn't have seen this because we were watching live.
For sure.
But apparently Tom and Jeff and Andy were adamant that they should have had a red card in the first half, that it was a single foul and a second one. I don't know. All I remember is one of our players being sived down in the centre spot, more or less, in the first half. But anyway, it sort of set the tone for the game. There was definitely a feeling that the referee was being a bit favourable to them.
There was an injustice. I certainly felt that for the first goal.
Yeah, the first goal as well. Yeah. And then of course
their first goal, I should say.
Their first goal, yeah. But then that was kind of so the game was bubbling for me as like a smorgasbord of all the things that I hate the most about.
That's a great word.
Yeah, was it like play tennis?
I'd have gone with compendium.
Yeah. Tennis player used to wear a feeler. Remember him?
Absolutely.
Anyway, but the second half was winding me up terribly. You probably heard me from behind. I had the right ump because I just felt that.
I heard you from the front.
Well, whatever. Anyway, so I just felt the referee was giving them more than he was giving us. And it just felt very unjust, you know. The fans were giving it to us, you know. You sold your soul and all that fucking shit, you know. Which I thought, you know, considering they're Saudi owned, is a bit ironic, you know.
Well, and also I got to say I've had nothing but nice things to say about Newcastle fans in the build up to this. And as I say, I do think they're a fantastic club, but they're singing songs belittling our European trophy and belittling our heritage. I mean, so you say what you want, quite frankly.
No, they're great fans. But we love them to bits, you know. But it's banter, of course, you know. I don't want to get aggressive.
Yeah, we gave them some back at the end.
Gave them some back at the end. Yeah. So basically, mate. But Kudus. Let's talk about Kudus, maybe.
Well, he just left it so long. I mean, look, we've seen this experiment on a number of occasions, and I thought it was an experiment that was going to be utilised predominantly for the big games. So when I say, and I'm not suggesting that Newcastle aren't a big game, they absolutely are. They're a team. They're an upcoming force in the game. They're the richest football club in the world, and all of those things. However, I don't feel it worked particularly well against Manchester City, and I don't feel it worked particularly well against Liverpool. And when I say it, what do I mean by it? Well, I mean that midfield trio of Thomas Souček, of Edson Alvarez and of James Ward-Prowse, and in an attempt to shut things down, to close down the opposition's attacks. Ultimately, it hasn't worked in either of those games, and I will argue that it didn't work in this game either, because at the point where all of those players were on the pitch, we were 2-1 down, Tony, and it took the introduction of Mohammed Kudus, which came, and I've got to say this, and I know I've said it earlier on in the video, 10 minutes later than the manager himself intended on it happening. Here's my problem with it, Tony, right? Right, Kudus has got to start games now, but the manager makes a decision, 66 minutes. The players get onto the pitch 75 minutes. We can argue about the small change, but believe you me, we were watching it happen, and that's how it happened. Now, I think my issue with it is so much of the momentum of the game can change in that time, and it seems like we have to wait. It's not just we can make this substitution at any break in play, which is when legally you can make a substitution. It has to be our goal kick. My goodness, Tony, it's stifling.
It is, mate. It is, and I don't know why it takes so long. To be honest with you, Antonio started the season well. He was in beast mode for a couple of games, but it seems to take very little time for him to look knackered, and he's already looking tired. He looked knackered in the second half of the Sheffield United game. To my eyes, I was sat here in the stadium, and I think now, I know I'm not the only one saying this. A lot of people are saying that Antonio should be a last 30-minute impact sub now. And for me, today proved it, and Sheffield United proved it. I think Kudus has to start, and then you put on Antonio when the rest of the team are tired. You bring him on. You say, give me 30 minutes of beast mode against a knackered defence. That's when Antonio's at his best. And again today, he did some. You know, he was involved in the build-up for the first goal. I thought he did really well. Our goal, I mean, but we're not seeing enough now, and what worries me is that Moyes is going to repeat the same mistake and run him into the ground, you know, and he was on the pitch too long again today.
Yeah, absolutely, but ultimately a good point, you think?
Yes, absolutely. At the end of the day, we've played a bloody good team. As I say, for all of my moaning, we have played a bloody good team, and we showed some damn good spirit getting back into the game, you know, and after we scored, by the way, then it was like, whoa, we're a different team again.
Momentum.
Yeah, momentum was everything, but the momentum after our goal was almost as clear as it was at the start of the second half, when we looked like we'd almost like, we had players that suddenly lost their confidence.
Oh, they've been on the morphine trip at half time, no doubt.
What's going on? Why? I don't know what Moyes. I don't want to get into a situation where I'm blaming Moyes.
No. Listen, we can deal with that for another day.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's nothing to do with Moyes. Maybe it's more of a subconscious thing. They come on the pitch, and that's what they do. We're a goal up. Let's see it out. But you can't see out against Newcastle. You can see out against Sheffield United. You can't do it against Newcastle.
No, well, you don't want anyone coming on the pitch in any sort of instance, Tone. Quite frankly, all I would say is once we got that second goal, there was a momentum behind West Ham, and there was only one team that was going to go on and win that. And it's just a shame that injection of impetus, that momentum, couldn't have been introduced on 66 minutes when Moyes initially thought about it, rather than on 75 minutes when the substitutes are absolutely introduced. Tone, we're going to go and have a beer now?
Several.
Several beers. Thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe. And when we say like and subscribe, please do. Actually, if you can, share. When we say share, if you share it on your social media, be very much appreciated. Gives the channel a massive boost. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you didn't like it, just ignore it. Perhaps don't give it a thumbs down. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you tomorrow.